ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरे परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मोक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to today's Yoga Vasistha Satsang. Happy holidays and a happy Merry Christmas to all of you coming day after tomorrow or today, 23rd today. So enjoy the Christmas. May the new year be auspicious for you and may all happiness permeate all around us. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to our worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, to all sages and saints, to all our scriptures, and to the divinity in each of you. हमारा दंडवत प्रणाम है उस ब्रह्मांडीय ईश्वरीय शक्ति को, हमारे पूजनीय गुरुदेव स्वामी ज्योतिर्मयानंद जी महाराज को, सब साधु संतों को, ऋषियों मुनियों को और आप सब में विद्यमान परमेश्वर को. It's a great blessing that we are all united for satsang. Satsang, association of truth, which takes us from rajas into sattva. तो बहुत कल्याण होता है. May all be blessed on this auspicious, wonderful Christmas time, holiday time, and may you all be full of bliss and happiness. Today's attendance seems a little low currently, but pranam to Priya ji and Yogini ji and Shankar ji, who are serious aspirants, all of you. You try not to miss any satsang, so it's beautiful. May you continue to feel it in your heart, the bliss of the satsang, and may you continue to evolve. May all of you continue to evolve spiritually, and may this benefit countless souls. Whoever is born has to understand the true purpose of their life, and this becomes a great way for us to communicate that knowledge given to us by our saints, sages, through these holy scriptures. Nobody can claim them as theirs. They belong to the divinity. They belong to God. And we are all instruments in that divine plan. That is the important essence. So let us read Swamiji's message. Blessed self, adorations. Divyatman, Ashirvad. Christmas greetings and good wishes for a very happy new year. Christmas Mubarak or Nav Varsh ki Shubhkamnaएं. Think of the glory of God. Let your mind be occupied with the divine majesty that permeates this creation. सोचिए उस ईश्वरीय शक्ति ने जो पूरा ब्रह्मांड बनाया है, कितना कृपा है. उसकी कृपा से ही ये सब संभव है. So his glory is infinite. Do not keep your mind always involved in the passing problems of yesterday, today and tomorrow. तो हमें प्रयत्न करना चाहिए कि हम नहीं फंस जाएं कल, आज और कल के चक्कर में. We are always thinking of the past, present or the future, but of the problems. We have to get out of the problem phase and get into the bliss phase. कष्ट से हटकर आनंद के मार्ग पर चलिए. Enjoy the sweetness of prayerfulness. भगवान की प्रार्थना का आनंद उठाइए. लहरों का आनंद आपको आना होगा. It's a sweet experience, and unless that sweetness touches you, you will not know that. You feel it's a monotonous activity when you are starting out, but as you go deeper and deeper into this journey, it becomes ever more blissful. तो ये आनंद और आनंद देती रहती है. So let your prayers be unconditional. Very important. Most people are always asking for, whenever there is problem, God is immediately in the focus. And when problems go away, God also takes a vacation. He also goes away. To many of, not to all of the serious aspirants, but to most people. That's why there's a saying in Hindi, दुख में सुमिरन सब करें, सुख में करे न कोय, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. Which means that we always default to remembering God whenever there is any adversity, problem, difficulty that we can't solve. But when things are good, we forget about him. And then he further says, if you are constant in your prayers during adversity as well as prosperity, happy times, sad times, both times you are consistent, then dukh kahe ko hoye, your problems will slowly start to diminish and they will eventually go away. It doesn't mean that physically, externally they may not occur. They will occur, but you will not feel them. You get an elephant-like strength. Suppose you put a big bag on a dog, he will not be able to handle it. But you put it on an elephant, he won't even feel it. So that's what we should request God, to give us Hanumanji-like strength. When we have Hanuman-like strength, big problems shrink. So what should we pray? That may we make, what should we do? May we make molehills out of mountains. Big problems should become small when we handle them through God's grace and through our self-effort. The reverse of the saying. Saying normally is making mountains out of molehills. Here we are reversing it, saying we reduce the mountains into molehills. So convert them, shrink them. So whether things happen according to your expectation or not, your prayer, your remembrance of God should not be interrupted. See, so many times we expect God to work according to our wish, and when he doesn't listen, we say, I don't know if God is listening. Pata nahi Bhagwan sunte bhi hain ki nahi. Humne prayer kiya, suna nahi gaya, all that. So God is not working according to what we ask. He works according to what is good for us. हमारा कल्याण किस चीज से होता है, उस मार्ग से भगवान हमारा ध्यान करते हैं. So your remembrance of God should not be interrupted. That flow should be constant, continuous. वो दीप जो आप लोग जलाते हैं, चलते रहना चाहिए, चलते रहना चाहिए. And that flame will continue to give you peace and happiness under all conditions and circumstances. If your life becomes a stream of prayer flowing towards God, every day will become for you a Christmas day, a festivity. So, day of rejoicing, because we celebrate, we exchange gifts, we are happy. But that state should be maintained day after day, every day. Dain Swami Jyotirmayananda, aapke Swami Jyotirmayanand. So the message here is handle adversity and prosperity with grace, but always keep prayer in the center. भगवान की प्रार्थना को हमेशा मध्य में रखते हुए ध्यान कीजिए, प्रार्थना कीजिए, आगे बढ़िए. With this, let us chant our Kirtan. Kirtan purifies our heart. It's like sweeping, vacuuming our inner corners before we invite God in, just like we do in our home. So bhakti, devotion is very, very powerful. And in this Kirtan, we take the names of almost every deity. Although there is only one God, he comes to us in many different ways. Hari Om Tat Sat. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां श्री गणेश श्री गणेश रक्ष मां शरवण भव पाहि मां कार्तिकेय 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 रक्ष मां जय सरस्वती जय सरस्वती जय सरस्वती पाहि मां श्री सरस्वती रक्ष मां जय गुरु शिव गुरु हरि गुरु राम जगत गुरु परम गुरु सतगुरु श्याम आदि गुरु अद्वैत गुरु आनंद गुरु ओम चिद गुरु चिद घन गुरु चिन्मय गुरु ओम जगत गुरु ओम गुरु सच्चिदानंदा शंकराचार्य शिवानंदा ज्योतिर्मयानंदा शंकराचार्य शिवानंदा ज्योतिर्मयानंदा शंकराचार्य शिवानंदा ज्योतिर्मयानंदा ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिव 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 शिवाय नमः ओम हर 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 नमः शिवाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते रामचंद्राय हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे आंजनेय 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 पाहि मां हनुमंता 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 रक्ष मां ओम शक्ति पाहि मां ब्रह्मा शक्ति विष्णु शक्ति शिव शक्ति रक्ष मां आदि शक्ति महाशक्ति पराशक्ति पाहि मां इच्छा शक्ति क्रिया शक्ति ज्ञान शक्ति रक्ष मां गंगा रानी पाहि मां भागीरथी रक्ष मां हरि ओम हरि 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 ओम हरि ओम हरि हरि ओम ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति 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 ओम सुषमा सिंह जी, सुशीला प्रसाद जी and Taran ji, आप सबको भी pranams to you. I hadn't mentioned you. I see you have offered your prayers and perhaps you were a few minutes late. I generally try to start exactly at 7:30 unless I have some computer problems or something. But other than that, welcome and may you all be blessed during this holiday time. And Happy New Year, Happy Christmas. We will not have any Gita lessons for the next 2 Sundays. So no Gita on Sunday for this week and the following week. basically Christmas and New Year's. So you take that time off and do whatever sadhana you normally do, and also spend time with your family during this auspicious holiday time. So we will resume Bhagavad Gita back on the 8th of January. But Yog Vashisht will continue. Just so we are clear, this one that we are doing this Friday, next Friday also there will be a class. It will be December 30th. So we should be fine. And then may you all enter into a happy and auspicious new year. And we will continue with this satsang. So with that announcement, let us start our journey on this beautiful scripture, Maha Ramayana we call it, Yog Vashisht. Vashisht Muni, who is the Guruji of Lord Rama and also Lord Rama's father and the whole clan of Raghuvanshis. His father is Dashratha, Lord Rama's father. So Vashisht is one of those gurus that's more like a title. He continues for a long time, over many centuries, and timeless that way, like Hanumanji is timeless. That way we get guidance from Vashisht Muni. So this was written by Sage Valmiki, who was a highway robber, as many of you know. Well, Julie ji has also just come in. Julie ji, pranams. So happy holidays to all of you. So let us start section 106 of Nirvana Prakarana. Nirvana Prakarana, Nirvana meaning moksha, liberation, the purpose of our life. We exist for that. Whether we are from any religion, any caste, any sect, any belief, we all have to understand that we are all following the universal principles of God. Religion, we have given it a name. We call it Christianity or Hinduism or Islam or this or that. It's simply a pathway that has been created over time, so we can focus on that path to reach him. And every path is good, but understand that the laws are all the same. Whether you are a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim, we all have to die. We are all born, we all cry, we all have emotions, we all get happy, and then we all go through this illusion of Maya, what we call the world process. So it doesn't discriminate. God's law doesn't discriminate. The same sun will fall on us equally, whether we believe in him or not, whether we are theists or atheists. But then the consequences, action, what happens to our decisions, that is fully accountable. Karma, we call it. So we have to then buy the ticket at the end. So that is what will happen. Before our next birth, we have to determine, based on our actions, which embodiment will we be getting? What are we entitled to? And there we don't have a choice. We get what we have earned. So all of us who are steadfast on this path, have hope, know that your efforts are never wasted. Not 1 minute is wasted. Even if you chant the name Ram or Krishna or Jesus or whatever your name is for God, spirituality, then that becomes inexhaustible wealth. Only wealth you can take with you. Only. That is it. Nothing else. Our body, mind, I mean, all these things are just not us. And we have to depart from them. So the journey is to get mukti. And that's what mukti meaning liberation. And that's what this whole Yoga Vashisht focuses on. Lord Rama did get enlightened. And he got enlightened, of course, he's an avatara, so he got enlightened very young. But even he needed that guru through which he attained that. They can do any leela, but they also don't break the cycle of conventions, conventional wisdom, the way the cycle should continue. This is called the Guru Shishya Parampara. Parampara means tradition. So today we will be studying the ether of consciousness alone exists. Last Friday, we had studied pure consciousness manifests as dream and also as the waking state. So Sri Vashistha continued. He says, "O Rama, the waking and dream states are like twin brothers." It's a good analogy, actually. Similar in appearance, but with different names for mere convenience. In fact, there is no difference between the two. Both are essentially pure consciousness. Which two states? Your dream state and your waking state. Within a moment, consciousness identified with the mind moves from one object to another distant object. The minute you decide, you close your eyes, you are anywhere in a minute. Like if you are in India or Australia and you are thinking of Fiji or Japan and you've been there, just close your eyes and with the speed of lightning, your mind reaches there. So it's in between those two movements, of your mind, the state of objectless consciousness is the self. So that self meaning Atma, you can call it Atma or the divine energy, you can call it God particle within you, you can call it the thing that never changes, anything you like. Name and form are for our convenience. We have created those. Otherwise, that energy is always Sat, Chit, Ananda. It's always existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. So that's what that does. So it is in the ether of consciousness that the thought waves of the mind drift like clouds. So the sky is only one. How many clouds? Nobody can ever count them, right? They keep on changing, keep on forming. So asankhya, meaning infinite number of clouds, infinite number of waves in the ocean. How many? Even the ocean will not know. Ask the ocean, how many waves have you produced? Can it tell you? Ask the sun, how many rays do you generate every day? No answer. And you ask the sky, how many clouds do you hold within your realm? See? So therefore, it's that ether under which everything operates, that Atma, consciousness, self. As all desires are fulfilled in a wise sage, he experiences the bliss of the self from the ether of his heart. See? Because he is now tapping into it. And serious sadhaks also start to experience that. People who put in a lot of effort for God realization. Those people who say, I only want God. World is there, of course, but my focus now is to attain mukti, God realization. And when that feeling is totally pure and selfless and you're working in that way, then you start to develop those traits that sages and saints have, those mystics have. That's important. So as all desires are fulfilled in a wise sage, he experiences the bliss of the self from the ether of his heart. And that's why most of these sages and saints and advanced souls, spiritual souls, they are always in that state of bliss, because the aroma coming out of the self cannot be hidden. It just comes, and then it is permeating in them. It even comes out, which we call the aura or the peaceful vibrations around us. So before falling asleep and at the moment one is about to wake, the pure state of consciousness reveals itself. So think about it, just when you are about, and nobody knows exactly what time they fall off to sleep. You toss your pillows, you make your bed ready, you get excited and you're totally comfortable. And then But when do you slip away into that sleep? Even if you try to monitor it, you will not, because if you are monitoring it, you are awake. You see, and suddenly you will be sleeping. So that is the blessing of this divine energy, which we call the Atma. It's a blessing and also a mystery. The same thing happens when you wake up. In between that state, there is that little sliver. So, however, it is not grasped by the unenlightened mind. Unless we get enlightened, because we have to know what that self looks like, right? उस आत्मा का स्वरूप क्या है, वो आत्मा कैसे दिखती है, उसका कैसा व्यवहार रहता है, ये हम नहीं जानते हैं, because हम लोग संसारी हैं, संसार में फंसे हैं. Most of us human beings are worldly people. We do worldly things, and satsang is one part of our worldly activities. So we can be saying, okay, we also feed our soul and we have fed our body and we have done good things. But that level is okay. You will come back again as a human being, maybe a better human being, but that is not enough to give you liberation. It's not enough to show you the reflection of the self. Why? Because unless the mind becomes enlightened, unless we see that, and that comes through Guru Kripa, Ishwar Kripa, Shastra Kripa, Atma Kripa, 4 kinds of grace. So it comes from the grace of God. His grace is there. That's why you are here, listening to this satsanga. And you are comfortable, you have resources, you have a house, you have food on the table, you have so many blessings. That's his grace, God's grace. Ishwar Kripa. Then comes Guru Kripa. Then if you are lucky enough to have a guru, if you are fortunate enough to come in association with advanced souls and where you can interact with them, then so much the better, because now your evolution is going to be much faster, because you have a teacher who has practical experience, not just reading words, but also he can guide you what's right for you, what's wrong for you. And the first teachers are your parents. Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. Everything we are today is because we have learned something from somebody. And anybody who teaches you anything is a guru. Because you don't know, he knows, and he can enlighten you for that activity. But we are talking, in this context, we are talking Dikshit Guru, somebody who your heart vibrates with respect, your tears fall off, your emotions come up, and you have learned and you are willing to follow the guidance, and your heart should speak, not your intellect, not your words, not just those things. So when that happens, that is Guru Kripa. When the Guru shows his grace, miracles happen. Guru Gita, Lord Shiva, once Parvati ji asked him, "Oh Lord Shiva, who are you praying to?" He says, "I'm praying to the Guru." Guru being knowledge, and whoever carries that divine knowledge of divinity. So that is called Guru Gita. And that is how the tradition is. With Guru's grace, impossible becomes possible. Difficult problems are removed. But this is Kali Yuga. Half the people ask, why should I do it? Why do I need one? I know this, I know that. The ego continues to be an obstacle in that process. And therefore, the journey is, the timing is not right for them. No point, nothing to argue. Each soul is to evolve according to their own journey. This life is a big forest. So the question is, and we are in that forest. Some are hopelessly lost. Some have guides who know the way. But even if they know the way, it will still take a while to get to the exit, but at least they know the way. Some who don't know the way and think they know the way are probably going backwards. Instead of getting out, they are going deeper into the forest. So it all depends. Each soul has to go through his own journey. तो ये हम सबका अपना अपना यात्रा रहता है इस धरती पर. It's easy to say, may you get liberated, shabash, very easy. But to get there, वो पाना, उसको अर्जित करना, उसमें आपकी तपस्या बहुत अधिक required hai. In that journey, so that's the third effort is Shastra Kripa. So first is Guru Ishwar, God's grace. Second one is Guru's grace. The third one is the grace of the scriptures. Scriptures. So they are holy. Don't drink tea while reading these scriptures or while watching TV. You're also reading this book. It's not a book. It's a scripture. It's holy. It should be in your prayer place, at your altar, and you should revere it just like you revere your guru. You should touch it in a holy manner, just like you touch your mala, japa mala, and then you start with prayer to Goddess Saraswati. That's why we say, every time we say, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Aim Saraswati Namaha, Om Shri Guruve Namaha. Every time, whatever you do, you should start with bowing down to these three energies, because Ganesha removes all obstacles. That, oh God, if I'm starting to study, may it be uninterrupted. May there be no negative news. May all be auspicious. So Ganeshji will remove that. Om Aim Saraswati Namo. Oh Goddess Saraswati, please enlighten my intellect. Give me buddhi, give me wisdom, so I can understand and absorb whatever these scriptures are teaching me. And finally, Om Shri Guruve Namaha. May my Guru be kind to me. May his compassion guide me, and I bow down to him. So when Lord Shiva bows down to the Guru also, and Guru is not a physical body, not a person, not a name, it's a divine energy. But whoever is your Guru, he is the physical body also, because he has to communicate through those senses. Otherwise, how will teachings transfer? How will knowledge be transferred? That is the point. So Shastra Kripa, meaning the scriptural grace. And why do you need that grace? Because if that grace is not there of the scriptures, they are locked. Imagine going to your computer and you don't know your password. It's locked. Now you can't get into it. Much in the same way, these scriptures also are very deep. The meanings are very mystical, and therefore it's not easy for normal people to read the Bhagavad Gita and to understand it properly. It has to be, the shloka has to be broken down, explained, analyzed from a intellect, not just from an intellectual viewpoint, because you can read it intellectually, but you will not grow spiritually if you don't have Shastra Kripa. Once the Shastras are convinced, these scriptures, once they are convinced that you are a sincere aspirant, you are working hard, you're putting in your effort, and you have your sincere self-effort in that process, and the Guru's grace is there, God's grace is there, then what happens? The scriptures will open up that password for you. They will explain the meanings, where you will read it and you will understand the deeper meanings also. So that is Shastra Kripa. And the fourth one is Atma Kripa, the grace upon your own self. You deciding what you want in your life. Because if that grace is not there, we will continue to rotate in the cycles of life and death. We will continue to be involved with rajas activities, worldly things, what's happening in politics. All those things will consume a lot of our time. So instead of leading a balanced life, we will start leading a disbalanced life. And therefore, Atma Kripa, your own effort. So these four grace of these four things is very important. बहुत आवश्यक है कि हम इसको ध्यान से करें. Because then we will get enlightened. That's the only way. If we start developing ego, if we start thinking we have read so many scriptures, then it is not going to. Intellectually, you may be able to impress a lot of people with your knowledge. You may get accolades, you may even win awards, and you may have a large following also. But inwardly, it's nothing, because you haven't accumulated the real nectar. Theoretically, sure. Theoretically, you have memorized everything. You're very good. But unless, that's why we say this holy path is not such a simple thing, not such an easy thing. Do this and do that and God will come. It's not like that. He sees through our tears even, and he knows who's crying crocodile tears and who's crying real tears. And even then, we have to continue our effort. Continue our effort. So, the ether of consciousness is that which transcends the three states of consciousness, waking, dream, and deep sleep. तो इन तीन स्थितियों को हम क्या बोलते हैं? Waking is जागृत, dream is स्वप्न, and deep sleep, shushupti, deep sleep, in which we don't know, no dreams. We are totally comfortable and relaxed, but no dreams. And waking and dream. So these are the only three states. And in each of these three states, the underlying cover is your Atma or consciousness. So that Atma, that consciousness is transcending all three states. So the pure state of awareness experienced is in the ether of consciousness. So जो भी हम अनुभव करते हैं, ध्यान करते हैं, सोचते हैं, वो सब हमारे आत्मा के ऊपर ही हो रहा है, through that consciousness. So when the self is not refracted by the limited functions of the mind, it reveals its essential nature as free from all differentiation and duality. तो उसमें द्वैत नहीं है, आपकी आत्मा में no duality. There is only one Sat Chit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. And that's what that self is. So as soon as we start learning what is not the self and you are able to differentiate it, उसको समझ के उसको हटाओगे, तो क्या होगा? वो आपको आत्मा का स्वरूप दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. We will start to see what the real consciousness or the Atma is. So when all internal and external desires of the mind are fulfilled, the ether in the heart is freed from all forms of subtle desires. So what is, this is why they say, give up desires. कामना से ऊपर उठ जाओ. क्यों बोलते हैं? क्योंकि जब तक कामना रहेगी, तब तक हमारे स्वरूप का प्रकाश हमको नहीं पहुंच पाएगा. We will not be able to see it because of the obstacle of the desire. That light that is coming from the self is now obstructed by our desire. तो अगर आंतरिक इच्छा भी है, whether it's internal or external, both of them will obstruct your view. But if there are no desires, that's why Lord Krishna, all the scriptures teach us, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, get rid of all these negative, evil traits that are forever within us, because they will not help us to grow spiritually. So then the limitless glory of the self is revealed. But once we learn to reduce these things. That's why you see, there is really not a whole lot we need to be happy. If we have enough food in our belly and we have a nice comfortable environment and a good roof over our head, then we should be doing bhajan, jap, kirtan, dhyan, and connect with God. What more do we want? So, that by which the object of the worlds are desired, pursued, revealed, gained, and lost is the ether of the self. So think of the self like the sun. सोचिए कि आपकी आत्मा सूर्य है और उसकी किरणें, सूर्य की किरणें, the rays of the sun are all the things that you see and do. The sun personally doesn't come down, but yet the light is there in the morning. At night time, it's totally dark. And when the sun shines, everything is done under the sunlight. So whether it's good, bad, ugly, nice, whatever you do, so it's all that ray is the ether of the self. तो जो कुछ भी हम करते हैं, देखते हैं, सोचते हैं, खाते हैं, पीते हैं, whatever we do, eat, sleep, whatever actions, worldly things, non-worldly things, spiritual things, they're all being done because of that ether of the self, because of those rays, that in which all objects of the world arise and merge in the ether of consciousness. तो उस आकाश में जिसमें आत्मा का स्थिरता है, वहीं से ही सब कुछ आता है, उसमें ही जाता है. Whatever we see through our Atman, that's where we experience the incoming and the outgoing. But if the Atman was not there, we couldn't even breathe, listen, see, touch, smell, taste. Nothing would happen. So that in which all concrete and abstract objects of the world are threaded is pure consciousness. Atma. So think of Atma like the thread inside the garland. All you see are roses or flowers in the garland, but the thread is the one that is making them come together. And the minute the thread is broken, the flowers will all break. Much in the same way, this divine plan we call the cosmos, the Brahmandiya Shakti, Ishwariya Shakti, all that we see is what? It is all the divine energy, Brahmandiya Ishwariya Shakti, pure consciousness. So, that which is the efficient and material cause is pure consciousness, both. That is where Vedanta becomes so powerful. It transcends all religions, all thoughts, all concepts, and it becomes so powerful because it shows you what's underlying at our world and our human level at a very microscopic point. And it transcends everybody, the entire human race. So it is not dharma-centric. It's not just religious focused. It's basically saying what can happen, that divine energy, whatever name you like to call it, those are semantics. It doesn't matter. Whatever name, Rama, Krishna, Hanuman, Jesus, Allah, all those are only names of God. We have given him those names. He doesn't care much about them. Those are whatever name. If we have love and affection and we are sincere, then whatever we give him, he accepts with love. But he is the one who has created this universe, and he also enters into the universe. And that's what's so different from most other thoughts, schools of thought or philosophy even, is how the Vedanta works. Vedanta basically says that the divine universal energy, divine Brahmandiya Shakti, that Shakti will create the cosmos and it will also enter into the cosmos, which is what we call Atma, consciousness, God particle, Jivatma, all those things, consciousness. Even an ant has God in it. Even a stone actually has God in it. Why? Because it just doesn't have senses to express it. If God had given a stone hands, then he would have also waved like you and me. So there is more. Why do we say that? Because science shows you that it has electrons in it, it has atoms, they move, there is an electron, a proton, a neutron, there is a cosmic cause and effect, and that's what it is. So the creator has also become the created. Very deep. ये समझना आसान नहीं है, बहुत समय लगता है, धीरे धीरे धीरे. We have to be sincere and then slowly digest and understand. अभी क्या है, जैसे कोई कुम्हार है, a pot maker, he knows how to make a pot. So he will pick up mud and he's got his potter's wheel, and through that he knows the art, and he will make a tumbler, he will make a plate, he will make a glass. All those things he can do, but he cannot become the glass. He cannot become the plate. He cannot become the mud. And here, that is what we call a material cause and an efficient cause. Here, God who has created this also becomes the potter, and he also becomes the pot. Think about it. No other entity can do that. If you are a programmer, you need a computer. You don't become the computer. You write on the computer. You do things through the computer. So therefore, these tools that we have for our evolution are all needed. But that is why it is so hard to understand and digest this energy, whether you call it self, consciousness, Atma, Paramatma, God, so many names. But that is what it is. He is both. He can become the car and he can also become the car maker. That way you have to understand, which is called the material cause and the efficient cause. So they call it the Nimitta Karan and Upadan Karan. Upadan is the creator, the potter, and so created, and Nimitt is through which it's created, through the material and so on. So in between two thought waves, it is the pure self that continues to reveal itself. But how many thought waves we have? Thousands upon thousands of thought waves. So just like a fan moving very fast, you think it's all one continuous motion. You cannot tell how many different wings that your fan has unless it stops. While it's in motion and it's running fast, you will not be able to tell it. So much in the same way, just as a screen, when you go watch a movie, the screen reveals itself in between two projections in a cinema show, you see. Whatever show, tragedy, comedy, different musical, whatever show you see, first there is a white screen, then the movie starts, in the end there is the white screen, which we clearly see, and then we are bored. Why is it still white? When will the show start? When will it change? Because you want to see the show. That show is the world we live in. वो धरती, ये संसार जिसमें हम रह रहे हैं, that is that cinema show. So the self continues to reveal itself as projecting thoughts rise and fall on the screen of pure consciousness. You may even meditate on it. Your screen is pure, white, clean, and the source of all your projections. And the minute the projector starts and the pictures start to come, what happens? The projections take over the screen. We start crying when we see a sad scene. We start smiling when we see a happy scene, and so on. Nobody is seeing the screen only. We have forgotten about it. Nobody sees the roots of the tree. Everybody wants the fruits only. See? So the self continues to reveal, O Rama, because Lord Rama is the one benefiting, and we are benefiting through Lord Rama. He is getting enlightened and we are getting the knowledge. O Rama, through experiencing objects of the world, through your senses, you must abide in the self by rendering your mind free of all vasanas. See, what that means is vasanas. Vas means actually smell. So samskaras, vasana, vritti, kama, karma, bhoga. It's like a cycle that continues. Samskaras are our over many, many lifetimes, we have accumulated certain traits. Why do two people differ? One man's treasure is another man's garbage. No two people even at home may like the same thing. You may like some food, the other one may hate it. He may like something totally different because of these samskaras over time. So they abide in the self by rendering your mind free of all the vasanas. So then we have to learn this process of how to free the mind of subtle desires. You will enjoy the bliss of sleep even during the wakeful state of your existence. So once we learn how to see the screen, then not just the projections of the screen, then you have decoded the mystery. Sort of like learning the trick of the magician. Once you know what the magician is trying to do, it's all an illusion, isn't it? The whole magic show is nothing but an illusion, but yet you are so trapped into it that it looks so real that you don't know what else to do, and you believe it. You are awed by it. आप उससे मुग्ध होकर उसको देखते हैं, उस शो को, क्योंकि वो इतना सत्य लगता है, प्रतीत होता है. It appears so real. So if you learn this, and this is why this education is being given to us. We are being guided properly by the scriptures, by God, by our Guru, by our own effort. So it's a serious undertaking. It's a serious project to remove that veil of ignorance. But once we can do that, then जो आनंद आपको सुषुप्ति में आता है, वही आनंद आपको फिर जागृत अवस्था में आ जाएगा. Think about that for a minute. The same joy you receive by your deep sleep, you will also get during the wakeful state. This we all know. Sleep is so good, so nice. Our batteries are charged up. We wake up, we feel healthy, we feel, maza aa gaya, itna acha neend aaya. And we all experience it. It's our personal experience, and we do it every single night. Every single night we experience. But then what happens the minute we wake up? Oh, the problems of the world come. We say, oh, I have a meeting with this boss today, or I have to do this chore, or why this, why that. We come back to our wakeful reality. But if you go deeper and understand the reasoning and the process, how the process itself works, then there will be no more confusion. You will enjoy the wakeful state as much as the deep sleep state. Think about it, how profound that is. And that is where the sages and saints and enlightened people are. Enlightened, matlab muktatma, jivan mukt, जिन्होंने मुक्ति को प्राप्त कर लिया है. So for them, the waking state and the deep sleep state become the same, which means even though awake, even though doing things, even though doing their activities, inwardly they are in total bliss, because they are no longer dependent on the projections, the layers. So, just as dream world has no real existence in the past, present or future, this world has no real existence in the three periods of time. बार बार यही समझाते हैं. Again and again our sages and saints try to teach us the same thing, that this is a beautiful blessing. It will not happen just through thinking. We can achieve it through self-effort, but knowledge is required, sincerity is required, faith is required, and then we can break this cycle. But it's all a dream. ये संसार उतना ही मिथ्या है जितना आपका स्वप्न मिथ्या था. Do we ever cry when we wake up? You know, if whatever dream you saw, whether it was a good dream or a bad dream, a nightmare or a positive dream, you wake up and you just think about it and you move on your life. You don't give it any importance. Same thing has to happen to this world also from a higher philosophical, profound viewpoint. तो जब आप उस तरीके से समझेंगे तो फिर समझ जाना कि इस संसार में भी इसका कुछ सार, कुछ अस्तित्व नहीं है, ना भविष्य में, ना वर्तमान में, और ना पूर्व काल में, पीछे. So the self alone exists. कुछ है ही नहीं. Only Atma, only consciousness, that's the only thing that's there. So therefore, what should exist? What should we say? The triad, Triputi we call it, seer, seen and sight is illusory. Seer is us, seen is the object that you see, and sight is your interacting experience, what you think of the object. You gravitate towards the objects you like and you move away from the objects you hate. That's all we do as human beings. So, but this, all the three things, you, the seer, what you are seeing, the object, and this whole experience also is all an illusion, illusory. Although at the surface level, it doesn't seem easy to digest, because over many lifetimes we have repeated this birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. It appears real. So we need patience, guidance, self-effort, all these things. So when the subtle desires are dissolved by knowledge, the self is realized, and the underlying reality behind the triad. So what happens when it will take knowledge of the self, Brahman. So then the subtle desires will dissolve. You are in a dark room and you are banging your head from here to there. If you are in a new place and in a dark room, it's very hard. And somebody else just comes in and he turns on the switch. All of a sudden there's light. Now you can see. No more banging your head. No more fear. See, that knowledge of the self, the Atman, that is that power switch going on. You cannot beat darkness with a stick. You cannot beat it. It won't go. You can beat a dog with a stick, but you cannot beat the darkness, ignorance. So it has to come through light. Let there be light. That's why every religion has light as the common source. Whether they believe in other things or not doesn't matter, but the light, every religion likes light, lamps, light, and so on. They may call it different names, but everybody, even Jews light candles, Christians light candles, Hindus light diyas and all that. So the self is realized as the underlying reality behind the triad. The minute we understand, जब हम ये समझ जाते हैं कि हमारा सत्य क्या है, what is the reality, then the fear is gone, isn't it? The illusory seer merges in the true seer. So जो हमारा भ्रम था, वो दूर हो गया. What was the illusory seer? The fear of all that. Who is the self? The self, once you know, then the fear runs away. There is no seer, knower and perceiver other than the self. So this Atman is the real Brahman. We call it God, we call it divine energy or consciousness or whatever name and form you like. So moving on to section 107, The world is non-existent like dream. And we just are touching upon this topic as Vashistha Muni had started. He says the world is superimposed on the reality of the self. The differentiations of seer, seen, and sight are simply illusory modifications of the self. That's what we were discussing. What we are seeing, it is not the reality. It's just our experience of our own thought process. Think of the snake on a rope. Is there a snake on the rope? No. The rope looks like the snake, Rajju. So Rajju is the rope and snake is the feeling. So because there is some darkness, some light, you open a closet and suddenly you look at that rope and it's entangled in such a way that it gives you the illusion of a snake. Now you are afraid, you are scared, and your fear is very, very real. वो सांप ही लगेगा जब तक कोई आपको दिखाएगा नहीं कि ये सांप नहीं, रस्सी है. Till you learn that actual knowledge that it's not a snake, it's just a rope, till that time we are all in ignorance and fear. Fear of death, fear of this, fear of that, क्योंकि हमें सांप दिख रहा है. समझ गए? We are seeing the snake, we are not seeing the rope. So therefore, all the things are illusory. Whatever your thought is, अरे ये हो गया, वो हो गया, अब हम क्या करेंगे, कैसे होगा, क्या होगा, all that is not needed. But yet your problem is very real to you. Because for you it's a snake, isn't it? So all names and forms are illusory otherwise. उसके अंदर जो भी आप imagination करेंगे, whatever you imagine is all your own thought process. So the world of objects exists like the blueness in the sky. Is the sky really blue? Huh? No, right? You know that. Science tells you there is no such thing as a blue sky. It's just that our eyes are limited. We can only go up to a certain point. And then we see this big umbrella of blueness. Suppose you see it with a telescope. Now the same sky goes way back. And at night you can see stars that are barely visible with your eyes. You can see them in a much better light. So are these senses really reliable? Are these senses true? No. A dog's sense of smell is so much more powerful than you. Even with all this technology, we see all these dogs at airports smelling that they can find something. So we all live in a relative world, different world. A dog's world is different than your and mine. So there is no such thing as one world for everybody, you see. It's all based on our senses, our perceptions. And in reality, each person is seeing the snake in his own way. So whatever thoughts he will develop are his. Blueness doesn't exist in science. It's just the distance creates that impact. So this world exists like the imaginations of a child. जैसे एक छोटा बच्चा स्वप्न देखता है या कुछ ध्यान कर लेता है, वैसे ही ये संसार है. In the light of pure reason, there is no possibility of developing the false notion that this is mine, this is what I am. How can desire arise for enjoying the non-existing objects of the world? तो इसीलिए ये इसमें बताते हैं कि ये स्वप्न, इस जागृत अवस्था में जिसको हम संसार बोलते हैं, this waking state in which we are living and interacting and acquiring possessions and things, what is the reality is all this is happening in our dream only. Although you are awake, but it is from a more profound viewpoint. बड़े दृष्टि से देखा जाए तो सब सपना ही है. It's क्यों? Because if it was permanent, it would be the same. But everything is changing, and the only difference is in your dream. जब आपका स्वप्न खत्म होता है, तो हम जाग जाते हैं. We wake up and we are in the same body. But when we are about to depart from this world, then what happens? We sleep in this body, we wake up in another body. That's the only difference. But otherwise, the concept of waking, dream, deep sleep is going on. So then you say, when we depart from this earth, we say, oh, there we go. I have woken up. It was just a dream. This whole life I lived, 40, 50 years. I had this husband, I had these children, I had this, I had that. Mera ye tha, wo tha. Sab khatam ho jata hai. It's all as if gone. Because kis ko yaad karoge? Who all will you remember? You are a soul. आप एक आत्मा हो, शरीर थोड़ा ही हो. You are not this body, and you have had countless embodiments. In every embodiment, you had a husband, a wife. Sometimes you were a man, sometimes you were a woman. Sometimes you were a cat or a rat. No guarantee, you see. All based on our karma. जैसा कर्म करेगा वैसा फल देगा भगवान, ये है गीता का ज्ञान. So God is continuing with his mercy to guide us properly. So he says, that is the process. So making the effort to maintain worldly values is as ridiculous as trying to nourish a child that was never born. It seems very funny. You will say, what? Why would anybody do that? How can you nourish a child that is never born? But that's what we call imagination, fear of things that never happen, seeing the snake in a rope, all that. The realities of the world sustained by egoistic visions are mere illusions from the point of view of the intuitive mind. Intuitive मतलब प्रज्ञा, मन को शुद्ध करने का जो प्रोसेस है वो प्रज्ञा है. प्रज्ञा मतलब प्राज्ञ शक्ति जो हमें आत्मा का दर्शन करा दे. Radhe Radhe Shyam Milade, we say, huh? Oh, Radha, we want to meet Krishna. What should we do? How should we do? So this is what we are basically trying to say. We are trying to understand what our essence is. और ये सब एक माया जाल है. It's all coming and going. So the mind of the ignorant is constantly involved in the illusions of cause, effect, time, action, objects, etc. तो जो भ्रम में हैं, जो सांप ही देख रहे हैं, रस्सी नहीं दिख रहा, they are only seeing the snake, not the rope. For them, all the activities regarding trying to find a stick, trying to close the door, trying to save your life are all illusory, isn't it? Every action we are taking is all due to that ignorance. The minute somebody shows you the light and says, "Whoa, look, it's just a rope," and then all your actions will be gone. Nothing is needed. No imaginary gun is needed anymore. This, that, you see. However, as much as the limited mind may conceive these to be true, they are in fact illusory when viewed by the illumined mind. समस्या क्या है कि हम लोग illumined नहीं हैं. We are not enlightened. As soon as we get enlightened, all these questions will go away. The minute the sun comes, does he announce, "Hello, I'm coming, it's morning, light is going to happen, announcement, please get ready"? No such thing, isn't it? It will come. Whether you are sleeping in your room till 11 a.m. with dark curtains, you may say there is no sun, but all you have to do is remove your curtains, open the window, come out. You see, very simple. So ये हमारी बनाई हुई समस्याएं हैं जो हम ही को सुधारनी होंगी. Our problem, our illusion, we have to fix it, you see. And as soon as the mind is illumined, जब पर्दा हट गया. There was a song in Hindi, पर्दे को रहने दो, पर्दा ना हटाओ, पर्दा जो हट गया तो भेद खुल जाएगा, which means that there is a curtain, so please don't remove the curtain, otherwise actually the meaning is opposite because it's an old song. But the reality, what we are trying to convey is, remove the curtain so you can see who's running the show, कौन चला रहा है हमारी सृष्टि को, दृष्टि को. एंड वो सब जैसे ही हम उठते हैं, सब स्वप्न के समान हो जाता है. It all becomes like a dream. It is the self that sustains the dream phenomenon and is not limited by it. तो जो आत्मा है वो, उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, चाहे आप आस्तिक हैं या नास्तिक हैं, whether you believe in God or you don't, whether you say this is right or not. Remember, these are working through universal principles. ब्रह्मांडीय ईश्वरीय शक्ति से चल रहे हैं ये सब. So that very same self is the sustainer of the dream process also. So the same Atman, same consciousness, same self that is keeping you in the awake state, in the waking up state, is the same thing also in your dream state. So no difference. Same Atma, because without that light, no other light will work. It is beyond all names and forms projected by the limited mind. क्योंकि हमारा मन बहुत सीमित है. We are very, very small. And on top of that, we have this thing called ego, which further complicates our already small and foolish approach. Not only do we not know, we also think we know. And we are right, which makes the process even harder. So therefore, every religion says, have faith, have respect, have effort, and continue to say there is a higher energy than just me. It is realized by one's own intuitive vision. So as soon as that happens, the curtain will open up, and when that opens up, then you become enlightened. Till that time, we should all continue walking on that journey and follow the teachings of enlightened masters. You don't know how blessed you are to have these living masters like Swami Jyotirmayananda ji and the teachings of Swami Shivananda and all these glorious saints who have worked tirelessly, I tell you, to help us, you and me. So we can also come. They are so giving, so unselfish, so kind and compassionate that they are protecting us, guiding us, and all we need to do is our self-effort. So with this, we will conclude the satsang for today, and we will start with next week, next Friday evening, 7:30 p.m. We will start sections 108 and 109, the story of King Vipashchita. So Yoga Vashistha has one specialization. It gives you profound wisdom, and it also disburses it with some interesting and enlightening stories also. So we can all learn the mystical, deeper depths of that. So with that, we conclude the satsang. Let's do our arti together to thank God, and happy holidays to all of you. No class on Gita, Bhagavad Gita this Sunday and next Sunday. So just 2 Sundays, no more Gita class, but Yoga Vashistha will continue. So those of you who can join 7:30 p.m. Friday evening are welcome. I think the energy rises, and especially when all of you are here, especially those of you who make a sacrifice. Some of you wake up very early because of the countries being different. I know Shankarji is one. It must be very, very early there, probably 4 a.m. or something. So, but when we do it live, when you attend it live, it's like that's the next best thing to being in actual proximity, because we are doing this together, creating these vibrations. And then later people, of course, listen to recordings and so on. But this satsanga is where we are all contributing. Every one of you is sacrificing now and making it a priority. And especially all of you regular souls like Priya ji, Yogini ji, Shankar ji, and Aaron, and so many other souls who are coming on Zoom also, and Sushma ji, and Sushila ji, Taran ji, so many of you. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce somebody's name just because I cannot see it sometimes here, but all of you are here and you know who you are. We don't need any name, fame, recognition. वो सब तो पीछे रह जाता है इस मार्ग पर. इस मार्ग पर तो जितना हम शुद्ध हो जाएं वही बहुत है. On this holy path, the more we stay humble and meek, that is what we should ask. And may Lord Jesus bless each of you during this auspicious Christmas time, and may his blessings, Lord Krishna's blessings, and all the divine blessings come and enlighten your heart with light. That's why we do this light aarti, so we can all pray to God through this light. Om. So let's do the aarti together. Jai Jai Aarati Vigna Vinayak Shri Ganesha. Jai Jai Aarati Subramanya Kartikeya. Jai Jai Aarati Venugopala Venulola Papa Vidura Nita Chora. Jai Jai Aarati Venkateramana Sankat Harana Sitarama Radhe Shama. Jai Jai Aarati Gauri Manohar Bhavani Shankar Samba Sadashiv Uma Maheshwar. Jai Jai Aarati Rajarajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahashakti. Jai Jai Aarati Anjaneya Hanumanta. Jai Jai Aarati Dattatreya Trimurti Avatara. Jai Jai Aarati Shaineshwaraya Bhaskaraya. Jai Jai Aarati Sadgurunatha Shivananda. Sadgurunatha Jyotirmayananda. Jai Jai Aarati Vigna Vinayak. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhati kuto yam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Om Shantihi Shantihi. Om Karcharan Kritam va Kayajam Karmajam va Shravananayanajam va Manasam va Paradham Vihitam va Sarvame Takshamasva. Jai Jai Karunabdhe Shri Mahadev Shambho. Jai Jai Karunabdhe Shri Mahadev Shambho. Jai Jai Karunabdhe Shri Mahadev Shambho. Samast Loka Sukhinau Bhavantu. Om Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaivate Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinaha Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Prana Apana Samayukta Pachamanyam Chaturvidham. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Brahmarpanamastu Samasta Lokaha Sukhinau Bhavantu. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. Hari Om Tat Sat, divine blessings. May good health, peace, joy, happiness, prosperity, long life, and lots of desire to attain liberation enter each one of you. Om Shanti 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 Hi. Hari Om Tat Sat. We will see you on Friday next week and no Sunday class again. Hari Om Tat Sat.